Hi there, it's Monday the 12th of October 2020. This week we're looking at how to maintain balance in life. I don't know if you ever been to the circus. I remember as a boy being taken to the Kelvin Hall circus. That shows you how long ago that was, by my gran and papa and my mum, and I just loved it, and I've got such amazing memories of that. And one of the acts I really loved was the high wire, or the tightrope walker, and watching them walk across this tightrope and do all kinds of amazing acrobatics on it. And that always thrilled me. And of course the scary part was you thought they might have fallen off, and you didn't know what was going to happen. And I can remember that so vividly. And you know, that kind of analogy of walking a tightrope is very relevant when we think about maintaining balance in life, because of course walking a tightrope, you had to maintain balance. That was the key aim of the whole act, was to maintain balance. I don't know if you know, but the real name or title of tightrope walking, and that's not easy to say, is funambulism. There you go, funambulism. You can impress somebody by telling them that. And Wikipedia says that tightrope walking is the skill of maintaining balance while walking along a tensioned wire between 2 points. The skill of maintaining balance while walking along a tensioned wire between 2 points, usually 2 fixed points. One of the most famous tightrope walkers in history was a man called Charles Blondin, who lived between 1824 and 97, so in the 19th century, and he did all kinds of amazing feats on the tightrope. Of course, his most famous probably was walking across the Niagara Falls, which he did many times. And not only did he walk across it, but he walked across it blindfolded. Can you believe it? He walked across it pushing a wheelbarrow. He walked across it on stilts. He walked across it carrying his manager on his back. That's a very brave man. He stood on a chair in the middle of the Niagara Falls on the tightrope. I don't know how he managed that. And perhaps most amazingly of all, he sat down and cooked an omelette as he was halfway across, which is just crazy. So Charles Blondin, there you go. Now the technique of being able to stay on a tightrope and keep your balance is that you have to keep your centre of mass, or your centre of gravity, above your support point, which is usually your feet. That's it. You're trying to keep yourself centred above your support point. And of course that's true for us in our life as well. We are trying to keep ourselves balanced in our lives. And we do that by having some central support that we can keep ourselves fixed to. And of course as Christians, our central support is Jesus, is God himself and his word, the Bible. And that keeps us balanced and fixed in our lives. Now you'll have heard of the phrase, of course, walking a tightrope, which means that you find yourself in a situation where you're trying to balance two opposing viewpoints. Sometimes politicians, in fact often politicians, find themselves walking a tightrope. Nicola Sturgeon is walking a tightrope so many times when she is trying to balance the evidence from the COVID, which is calling for restrictions, and of course trying to balance that with the need of people to be out and about for their mental health's sake, businesses to be opened, etc. And she is walking a tightrope, and it's a very, very difficult thing to do indeed. One of the questions that sometimes get asked of husbands by their wives is, how do you like my hair? Or how do you like my new dress? At that moment we are walking a tightrope, and we can fall off to our deaths at any point. On the one hand, you have the fixed point of being honest, and if it's not very nice, then you want to be honest. But on the other hand, you've got the fixed point of being kind and supporting your wife and encouraging her. And how do you maintain your balance between those two fixed points of view? Well, it's not very easy. Often silence is the best way. But maintaining balance in life is absolutely necessary for us, and it's a very challenging thing to do. And again, perhaps all the more so during our time just now, maintaining the balance between obeying the restrictions and still trying to have some kind of a life, between being inside and being outside. there's so many tensions that we find in our lives just now. What does the Bible say about maintaining balance? Well, in the book of Proverbs, there's a couple of verses which are referring to the weights and balances which people use to measure on scales, but actually it can be used as an analogy, I think, for life as well. Proverbs 16:11 says, honest scales and balances are from the Lord, all the weights in his bag are of his making. And in 11:1 it says, the Lord abhors dishonest scales, but accurate weights are his delight. In other words, God's saying, use correct balance. Use correct balance, not just when you're actually doing the weighing out of grain or something like that, but in your life, use correct balance, and you'll find your life will be so much better. We're going to explore that a bit more this week. Speak to you again tomorrow.